We're getting to an era as football fans where every year's draft class produces a ton of exciting wide receiver talent. But it's been more than a decade since we've had a prospect coming out like Ohio State wide receiver Jeremiah Smith. Depending on who has the first overall pick, Smith has the chance to be the first number one overall selection as a wide receiver since Keyshawn Johnson in 1996. And his draft profile is quickly resembling the likes of other top-tier prospects at the position like Julio Jones, AJ Green, and even Calvin Johnson. Coming out of Hollywood, Florida, Smith was the number one ranked recruit in the 2024 high school class and was hyped up by 24/7 Sports as one of the greatest high school recruits to come out of South Florida in the modern recruiting era. Smith committed to 27 touchdowns with 2 All-American selections and a national title already under his belt. It's not just the hype and the production that has Smith being labeled as the next Julio Jones, it's also the work that he's putting in on tape and his overall play style. At 6'3" and 223 pounds, Smith is a rare blend of size, top-end play speed, body control, and route running that makes him a mismatch against every cornerback he goes up against, and he's still just scratching the surface of his full potential. We rarely get to talk about players that are on this tier as prospects like Smith is right now. And to show you what makes him so special, we're going to dive into some of the biggest games of his career, 3 of them from the last 2 college football playoffs, in today's episode of Best Available. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube and give us a follow on socials at BestAvailableYT. As always, a huge thank you to our members who continue to support the channel. If you would like full access to my constantly updated 2027 NFL Draft Big Board, consider becoming a member. I'll leave details to that in the episode description. But let's go ahead and dive into this tape. Smith, I don't have words, man. Let's just get into it. We're specifically diving into college football playoff games in hopes that we don't have much trouble with this video getting clipped to death. Just so you know, typically with Ohio State prospects specifically, we can have some trouble showing them, but I figured it was worth the risk to at least show as much as I can of Jeremiah Smith because it's the premier talent in all of college football, the number one prospect in this draft class, at least early for a reason. I've been lucky enough to see him in person when he was a true freshman, so I just said screw it. Like, if you're watching this later down the road and some of these clips get cut out or, by, certain things from YouTube, I apologize, but we got to talk about him. He's too incredible of a talent. We'll do our best here. So we've got Smith at the bottom of the screen. And this is something really simple at the beginning. He doesn't even end up getting a reception out of this, but I think it's so important for big-bodied outside receivers to sell all their routes vertically until you hit that route stem. And when I think about that for specific prospects, A.J. Brown, currently Philadelphia Eagles, soon to be the New England Patriots. He's one of the best wide receivers in football at this, and I think it's one of the reasons he's succeeded for as long as he has in the NFL. You want to push every route vertically to put stress on this corner. If you're just kind of lollygagging, they can sit on this route, and if you're, as soon as you hit that stem, they can trigger. But when you're pushing vertically as fast as you can at all times, it forces, especially from off coverage, cornerbacks to flip their hips and get ready to carry you vertically, especially when you're a height, weight, speed threat like an A.J. Brown or a Jeremiah Smith. His blend of size and speed is preposterous, and you'll see some of that throughout this episode. So right here, we're just going to sell vertically until we cut off and break off on this comeback route, and you're just going to watch how quickly he decelerates. Also, when he hits that stem, trying to get onto the toes of the DB, force him to flip his hips, then we're going to that break. So we're running it. Here you go. Full speed, full speed. You can see back heels. I don't think for a corner you get more on your back heels than this from this cornerback. So we're pushing right at him. As soon as he flips those hips, he's like, all right, I'm turning and running. I got to carry this vertically. Smith feels that, sinks those hips. Look at how low he gets. And that's something, having coached receivers for a couple of seasons at the high school level, when you want to decelerate, you got to drop your ass. You just got to drop it down, get your gravity down to the ground so that you can slow down from top speed. Keep those feet chopping, lower your center of gravity, and drop. And for, again, a 6'4", 223-pound guy, he is getting awfully low in this route stem, able to decelerate quickly. By the time he's already planting and breaking back out here, this corner is still reacting on this back foot, still trying to plant. Now he's planted, Smith's already breaking into that break. We've got a nice little bit of cushion here on that route stem. If it's a better ball, out quicker, more accurate, this is a nice completion. We can go ahead and rewind this, just show you the route in full of just how nuanced this is of him waiting for those flips, how quickly he gears down. I mean, I could watch this 3-second clip as teach tape for any outside receiver. Just from this moment, watch as soon as those hips flip from that corner, how quickly he decelerates right there. For a guy that big to be that in control of your body and to be able to accelerate and decelerate like that is part of the reason why he's so special. And I know I'm going into tons of detail in a play that he didn't even get a catch, but I think it's important when you're talking about outside receivers at the NFL level that are these big-bodied X guys. Like, this is what you want to see. We've got a condensed formation here. There's nothing, technically to show, just how physically impressive. Because sometimes, football's not always played on a diagram, right? It's played on the football field. You just need better athletes than the other team. So we got Smith coming across the formation. See him right here, hauling ass. We call this a slice concept, where you fake the inside handoff and have usually a tight end can be a wide receiver coming across the formation into like the flat. And I love this concept because, typically the eyes of defenders, second-level defenders, are going to fill that inside handoff. And if they get caught flat-footed, like let's say there's a linebacker here, he takes a step here, he's never going to be able to catch up to Jeremiah Smith. This guy's play speed is just too absurd. So once we get him out in open space, it's a nice block on the perimeter, nice 2 blocks on the perimeter to hold this. And then we've just got one-on-one. And, I know Oregon has some, respectable defenders every year. You're not winning. You're not winning a one-on-one battle with Smith. Diving at those ankles, not even phased. It's an easy touchdown. He walks in. Don't have to show too much of this, but it's just nice when you have better athletes than the other team, because it allows you to, win fairly easily in situations like this. Just one more time, how quickly he comes across that formation. Gonna win a foot race, and then just you got no luck. No luck tackling him when he has a full head of steam. We're gonna run a corner out here with Jeremiah Smith, but this is his true freshman season. Sorry I didn't bring this up earlier, but we're looking at 2024 against Oregon in the college football playoff as a true freshman. And his nuance and understanding of how to attack defensive backs at this age was just absolutely absurd, on top of everything else that's just God-gifted for him. Here we go. He's just going to run a corner out, but I want you to watch how he attacks this leverage. So he's feeling this corner bail. He wants to attack that inside leverage to make this defensive back wait as long as possible to turn his hips and follow. So as we roll this, he's still attacking vertically, right? And the corner's like, okay, got to carry him vertically. So you can see those hips keep turning farther this direction when he has to flip them in a second to follow this corner. So Smith keeps pushing vertically, plants on that foot as this guy's entire momentum is carrying him this way. And then suddenly, bad situation. Got to turn your hips wrong direction, then you've got to stack, and then this is bad. Like, by the way, great job by this cornerback. Originally has a flat responsibility, reading the QB's eyes, understanding, Smith is the number one threat here. So great job by this corner to get in position here, but you're going to see from the end zone angle in a second what we're working with. So just one more time, we got Smith here. Just watch how he pushes that leverage on that defensive back, waits for him to commit, then plants on that, and then let's show that end zone angle. Ball's in the air. He's got that space. Again, that defensive back did a great job closing from the flat to try and jump and enter through in this window. Smith's just going to high point it. It's something that's naturally just going to be, he's going to win a lot of 50-50 balls, and that's where I think a lot of the Julio Jones comps come in, because we've already shown you the speed and the understanding of leverage and attacking that. But at the end of the day, he's a 6'4", 220-pound receiver, and when the ball's in the air, he's a rare athlete that, even with 2 guys covering him, he's going to high point that football and come away with it more often than not. Oregon's having fits with Smith in this game, so they're like, all right, we're just going to press up on him. That's not going to be an issue for Jeremiah Smith. He's going to get a clean release outside here, just, easy release. We're not trying to jam him. Smart, would not try jamming him. You're going to lose that, and then he's going to get a free release. But here, this is what makes Love different when, he's down the field with a guy in his hip pocket. This corner is still, technically a little DPI. It's not enough for me, but he is trying to disrupt Jeremiah's route, get him to push closer to the sideline, get him off balance, mess up the timing, and he just doesn't lose stride this whole way, despite all that physical contact. Tracks it, basket catches it. It's a really nice play, and when he's just so natural making, contact like this does not bother a guy like Smith at all. You can see all of that effort to try and disrupt him at the bottom of the screen. And he's just going to keep doing his own thing here. No amount of contact feels like it's ever slowing him down. We've got a play action concept here. I'm starting it in the middle of the play, but what we're really paying attention to is once he gets downfield, Smith loves attacking blind spots. Again, true freshman here. This is very advanced stuff for a route runner, especially guys that, so often we're dealing with big, fast dudes, right? And in this situation, it's just like he's so much more nuanced than that. So you can see single high safety. He's trying to get vertical, stay over the top of Jeremiah. As Jeremiah feigns this outside route here, we're going to see the defensive back flip his eyes. So as soon as we do that, Smith's like, perfect, this is exactly what I want. And he's going to break back this way, completely cooking that safety. Attacking blind spots can be such a tricky thing for younger wide receivers to do. But Smith is just so comfortable doing it. Like it's second nature, just like understanding, well, he can't see me. It's a perfect time to get in and out of my break, get wide open for another easy touchdown. Just because it's Jeremiah Smith and he's different, but it's something I see every maybe 2 or 3 wide receivers that are really new in every draft class, but usually those are like smaller, shiftier route runners. It's not usually the big X receiver like Jeremiah. Even when you're in man covers, there's still ways to create separation. One of them is a throw by technique when a guy's in your hip pocket. So you're going to see Jeremiah establish inside leverage and then work back out, and we'll show you how he does that. So as we release this, you can see that inside leverage. We got to decelerate here. Nice job. Then just get hands on him. Another way we can do this, in situations like this, a little closer, as you got the inside leverage, almost like I always say take him to prom, but use your hand on the back of the corner, kind of use his momentum. It's not necessarily a push. It's more of a steady guide, rip under with the offhand, create that separation on that route. And then we've got that high point again from Jeremiah Smith, who's just a true acrobat. As we roll this right side of the screen, Smith's right behind that pole, sinking those hips, decelerating, using some of that handwork to get out, and then just the high point. College it's in. He's going to have to work on the 2 feet at the NFL level, but you can't coach the high points, which is, his catch radius is absurd. Flipping over to the national title game against Notre Dame, really enjoyed this one. I mean, you get a lot of good-on-good matchups. This is fellow true freshman at the time, Leonard Moore, who was projected top 10 pick at cornerback in this 2027 draft class. So doesn't get much better at good-on-good than Jeremiah Smith versus Leonard Moore. And this is what I just want to show you is for as big as Moore is, I think he's like 6'2", Smith's just on a different planet in terms of physicality at the route. So as we roll this bottom of the screen, you're going to see just the physicality with which Jeremiah plays. Like, maybe you could argue it's a little OPI, but I just love, there's a little bit of a throw by technique. Just, you got to be more physical than the other guy to get catches sometimes. And sometimes that might be argued that that's OPI or whatever, but, if you're both hand fighting, they're rarely going to call it unless it's some kind of grab. But this is a nice job of just being physical throughout the route concept. It's third and short. You got to get to your spot and create a little separation right there with that offhand, little bit of throw by. You typically don't want it that high because it can be a little obvious, but I think you can get away with a little bit more when you're Jeremiah Smith. But he creates enough of that separation with that throw-by technique on that third and medium. He gets the catch short of the sticks and then uses that physicality to, will himself to the first down. This is the kind of physicality that we're working with. This really doesn't have much to do with Jeremiah Smith. I just absolutely love the concept. Is maybe good prep, how the defense was playing to react to motion with Jeremiah Smith. Big fan of that. So we can see everyone's trying to account for where Jeremiah is. This corner is like, hey, right here, right here. He must be seeing something with the formation he thinks is going to happen. So he must be calling out. They think it's going to be, this orbit motion behind the running back that we've got. And so he panics and overcorrects. And it's like, all right, I got to carry over and know that Jeremiah is going across the formation. But what they do here is, I think it's called return orbit. So we get behind that running back, and then instead of going across the formation, we plant the foot and come back. And meanwhile, you're going to see this corner just keeps going this way the entire time. So we can see decelerates quickly. This guy's still following over here. Look at the ankle flexibility, just how low Jeremiah is getting into that route. And then we return orbit. By the time everyone realizes what happened, there is no one there. It is a quick jog into the end zone. I love little concepts like this, especially in a national title game. Again, not saying much about Jeremiah himself, but I think it is a huge testament to just film study and prep of knowing how they're probably going to handle your number one weapon, and then having counters off of that. I'm just gonna let you know right now, this is definitely probably OPI. But as a wide receiver coach, one of the things I always just got sick of is when you're getting grabbed the whole time, just complaining about it, not doing anything about it. I want you to be the bully. And in this, I don't know if anyone embodies being the bully more than Jeremiah Smith. He's doing the Pickens shove in this instance to create separation and honestly open for a touchdown. My only concern is I think they're throwing the flag if they end up throwing Jeremiah's way. But I love the way he's wired to throw out something like this. Just show that you're more physical than the other guy. And yes, again, I think if we're being a little more nitpicky about it or it gets thrown his way, I don't know how you don't call offensive pass interference. That 5 yard marker, as far as like, that 5 yard marker as far as like when contact by a defensive player is allowed, does not count for the offensive player, for the record. So just, yeah, not great, but I don't love that it's offensive pass interference. What I do love is how he's wired and that physicality. I need that in my outside receivers. We talked at the beginning of the video, that first play we showed, pushing every route vertically. It does so much to influence that cornerback before you get into your route stem. Another good example of that pushing vertically, getting that corner to flip his hips and bail, and then suddenly you're decelerating. Look, that corner is still going, and he's out of his break. That corner's still not planted. That corner's finally planted. Look at all of this space just because he sells this route vertically, and then adjusts well to that ball to make a catch, get the first down. But beyond all of that, I just love, the willingness to push vertically and just how much space he creates by doing so. One more time, just look at, you got to run all of these full speed. You can't half-ass that, and because of it, he creates all of that separation for the first down. It's not going to matter at all for his draft evaluation, but I can't wait to see what Jeremiah runs in the 40-yard dash because, man, that vertical speed shows up on tape sometimes. And I love it here that he's going to do a slight feign inside on this route. You can see he's angling it farther inside, trying to attack the toes of this corner to not let him flip his hips this way right away. Then we're going to push outside, and you're just going to see that deep speed as we keep this rolling. Feign that inside, now work outside, and look at that foot race. Just better ball, he's probably gone for a touchdown. Instead, he, still great yak, but man, like when he gets some clean space, man, like that separation speed, easy. Again, I think a better throw deep, he's walking in for a touchdown because he can just win that foot race with those long strides and explosiveness make him so scary. That vertical speed shows up again on this play. Also just attacking leverage, but like I think this corner does a great job not biting on, in any kind of feigning inside outside here. The corner's staying pretty disciplined. Like, hey, we're jabbing outside a little bit, but he's staying disciplined with his hips and trying to hold this vertically. And so like, hey, did a nice job there, not trying to like flip hips outside on that feint or anything like this, but Smith's just faster and bigger than you. And even when you're doing the right things, look at that separation at this point. They were even. They both felt like had picked up to full speed. After that feint outside, break inside. But Smith's just, those long strides are just going to help him out in these foot races. Staying attacks the middle of the field. It's a nice job by this other side defender, closing. Suddenly we have a tighter throwing window, but it's the vertical ability of Smith at the top of the screen that just makes him so dangerous as a deep threat. I think Ohio State's quarterbacks are fine. I really hope he gets a rocket arm quarterback to throw him passes at the NFL level because the stuff he can do in the vertical passing game is really exciting. Love watching this guy attack blind spots, man, especially at full speed. Just trigger, attack that, get outside leverage. He's originally getting funneled inside by this corner. Then he's like, let me get outside, get him to, lose his spot in the blind spot. He's trying to keep an eye and trying to keep in his eye. And Jeremiah's like, turn your head, turn your head, turn your head. Second, he starts losing that sight and turns his head. You can see Smith starts gearing down. It's like, perfect. He's lost me completely. Look, because he attacks blind spots so well and can decelerate so quickly, this is wide open in the NFL. You don't get much more space than this at the NFL level. Wish he gets the ball here because he doesn't get more open than this. But it's just another example of that. Push everything vertically full speed, work that outside, get into that blind spot where the corner is, and then create that separation. And this is as a sophomore, but like this is mastercraft, masterwork stuff from such a young wide receiver. One thing I wanted to make sure that I harped on during this video before we end it is just the gravity of a player like Jeremiah Smith. And it's such an important part of being a number one receiver that we don't talk enough about. Is that when you are so dominant and defenses have to pay so much attention to you, it makes the lives of everyone else around you so much easier. So on this play, we're just going to have a little switch release here, right? So we're just going to have different assignments and force these two defenders to communicate and switch off. But they're so worried about what Jeremiah Smith does here as we roll this. So we've just got this quick out here. This corner is solely focused on what Jeremiah Smith is doing. And that's what I talk about gravity. We have this outbreaking route, and I believe he understands that there's an outbreaking route here. I like to think he does, but they're so worried about Jeremiah Smith that we are still focused on that. And by the time that we realize, oh, hey, my zone's actually farther out here, this guy is in my zone, it's way too late because we've created all that separation. I mean, he's still working towards Jeremiah Smith at this point, and we've got all this space for this throw. That's just when I mean gravity for a star receiver, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I wish I had a better way to show this final play. It's just a little tricky. It was too grainy from the sideline view. I'm going to show it in the end zone view and try and stop it as quickly as I can when we get here. We're just throwing a back shoulder ball to Jeremiah Smith, and the best way to haul these in is to react late to them. We got to adjust our body and contort to make sure that we're in bounds while still getting to that ball. But what Smith does so well here is he reacts late to it, because the later you react when the corner or defensive back is so focused on you, the less time they have to react to your motions. Too many wide receivers I see get big eyes. They start getting their hands up too soon, and it gives the defensive back all the time in the world to interfere with that catch point. In this instance, we're just now adjusting our body. The ball's right here. We still have hands on this defensive back, so he's just finally getting his head turned to that ball. And then by the time that we've created enough separation, and he's not even pushing off, he stayed extended, and in the last second just kind of like let go and adjusted his body. And without having to push off, we've created a pretty significant amount of separation. And that's, I'll give Julian Saint credit. That's a great freaking ball, man. That is a great ball where only Jeremiah Smith can catch it. He adjusts super late to it, and then we have a nice catch in bounds, which is awfully impressive. I'll show it one more time again. Great ball by Julian Saint. Got to give him credit here. Nice ball. Quick reaction to it. It's a subtle movement. I love this coach is calling for a push-off. Bro, that's not a push-off. That's just God-given talent and contorting your body and reacting late to maximize that separation. Ain't no push-off about that one. I hope you understand after watching this video just how much Jeremiah Smith can do. He's the biggest wide receiver on the field. He might be the fastest. He's definitely the most explosive, most nuanced. He's got body control, high points, route running. He's a master of his craft, and he's only played 2 college football seasons. I can't wait to see what 2026 has in store with him. Let me know what you think of him, but I've been scouting for 12 years of my 14 doing this. He's the best wide receiver I've ever scouted, man. Like, I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait to see where he lands, but we still got another full season of football left to see him play in college. So I cannot wait for it. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. We're going to do something a little different tomorrow if you're watching this on Thursday with our Dynasty Sleepers. It's my first year playing Dynasty, so I've been doing a ton of homework onto this. So I hope you'll join me for that, and then we'll be back with a whole other round of videos next week. So thank you so much for watching today's episode, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.